And tonight on the Daily Wrap, one day after the tragic shooting of a WDMJ reporter and cameraman live on the air, the gun debate back in full swing. Even the slain reporter's father now weighing in. Plus, Donald Trump continues to lead the conservative field, but could he beat Joe Biden in a general election? And do you trust Hillary Clinton? Nuh-uh. This is the Daily Wrap, live from New York City. And welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Joe Concha, along with my trustworthy, credible,
still trustworthy?
honest.
Did you get that poll? Yeah.
I got the check saying that I should say that. Close enough. How are you?
I'm good today. A little calmer than yesterday. Very busy day yesterday.
It was. Why?
Yeah. Well, a lot of news happening.
And it was an Arby's night, too.
So it was an Arby's night?
That's what it is for you on Wednesdays.
Arby's?
I'm told.
You know, I could talk about Arby's more than you want to know.
Really?
I actually worked, this is true, at the very first Arby's in America.
Really?
For real.
And that opened in 1912.
That's right.
I thought you guys were talking about
Abe
the early
Lincoln,
bird special.
Abe Lincoln was right next to me in the service line making Jamocha shakes.
Really?
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, we have to move on to Mr. Mocha's right. She's an anchor for the Blaze TV and part of Sag Harbor's cultural elite. Amy Holmes is back, and finally, she's the founder and executive editor of the Accountability Project and part of the Lower East Side's
Not anymore.
cultural elite.
She's moved.
I moved 2 days ago.
Really? Congratulations. Welcome to Hoboken. Nomi Concha is here. All right, everyone, let's please get to the Daily Download.
We are approaching a moment that none of us will forget. It was yesterday around this time that we went live to Allison Parker and photojournalist Adam Ward. They were out in the field. The story was like so many others that they did all the time, reporting on our hometowns. They were at Bridgewater Plaza near Smith Mountain Lake to report on a happy event, the 50th anniversary of the lake, just a feature. And it was during a conversation with Vicki Gardner about another reason why we love living here when the peacefulness of our community was shattered. As we approach that moment, we want to pause and reflect, and we want to share with you once again what made these two so special, not just to us, but to all of our hometowns that WDBJ7 serves. Please join us now in a moment of silence.
You know, they say local news is like family, and certainly these folks definitely lost 2 family members, 2 special young people just entering the prime of their lives, and we join them as well in that moment of silence and remembering back. One day after that tragic murder of television news reporter Allison Parker and cameraman Adam Ward by former employee Bryce Williams, that was, at least was his reporting name, many in America are still in shock, including their colleagues. WDMJ General Manager Jeff Marks said today that after 12 rocky months in which Williams made coworkers feel, quote, threatened and uncomfortable, he was let go.
On February 1st of 2013, 2 news managers and the HR manager notified Flanagan of the decision to terminate his employment. He reacted angrily, telling them that they would have to call the police because he was going to make a stink and it was going to be in the headlines. The HR rep then called 911. Employees had been notified to give Flanagan space to clean out his desk. Once at his desk, Flanagan attempted to reach the corporate CEO without success. At that point, the police arrived and escorted him from the building. On the way out, he handed a wooden cross to the news director, who was at that time Dan Dennison, and he said, "You'll need this."
Bryce Williams, whose real name is Vesterly Flanagan, cited in a manifesto he sent to ABC News that the reason for the killings was in retribution for the Charleston church shootings by Dylan Roof, and that he suffered racial discrimination, sexual harassment, and bullying at work, and that he had been attacked by black men and white females, and that he had also been, quote, attacked for being a gay black man. Ben Shapiro over at Breitbart wrote this today. Black gay reporter murders straight white journalist. Media blame the gun. All right, Rick, a lot of stories surrounding this story. Has the media gotten this right, or is it the usual craptastic display?
Neither the media nor the politicians can get it right, because we don't even give these people 24 hours of our attention at such a horrible time, and we're already jumping all over the political argument. It's silly. What makes this a bit odd, though, I have to say, I was on the radio last night saying exactly what I just said, that, there ought to be a moratorium on politicians going there until the family's ready to, and up pops the father of this poor girl on television, and I said, never mind, apparently he's ready to. You know, we just keep going back to the same discussion, and nobody wants to acknowledge the truth, which is we could legislate guns out of existence tomorrow, and there'd still be 300 million guns on the street.
I couldn't agree more with you, Rick, and I think the key words were pause and reflect on the crime that was committed yesterday. And I actually watched Bryce Williams' Twitter feed as he was posting, as he was on the run, and it was chilling. I mean, and when he posted videos of himself approaching Allison and Adam and then raising his gun and firing, I had to avert my gaze. I mean, watching this was chilling. You realize you are dealing with someone who is deeply psychotic, deeply disturbed, wanted the world to know it. You look at the manifesto, he also said about the Virginia Tech shooter, quote, my boy right there, he got nearly double the amount that Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold got, just saying. I mean, gun control, people can have their views on it, one side or the other, more or less, but I think when it comes to Bryce Williams, we need to also be discussing nut control, frankly.
Yeah, mentally ill, but I don't want to hear that, oh, you know, he was crazy and he didn't know what he was doing. This was a very lucid person. He actually engraved the initials of his victims into the bullets that he used.
There's crazy and crazy.
There's crazy and crazy, but
There's
he also,
evil.
there's
There's
evil,
evil.
right. But he also took the time to, as you said, all the postings on social media, and even had another car after the rental car waiting, and he had a wig. This is somebody who thought this out very well. So I don't want to hear he was crazy, didn't know what he was doing, and just decided to kill two people. This was premeditated.
This is absolutely premeditated, and this, you know, a gun should not have been put in his hands. And I understand, you know, the moratorium and pausing and reflecting, but these are the moments when the families are most angry. And if you speak to the families that have been affected by gun violence and you ask them, and this has been polled, and there are plenty of them that have gotten together for different activist groups, and they say that is the time when the country wants to have this legislation. The polls start to go down as time goes on. There's an immediate response. You know, in states where there has been gun control legislation, gun-related deaths have gone down. That is indisputable. So you can say there are 300 million guns on the streets, but the more legislation, the less guns there are in the streets. And that's all we need, is to prevent people who are mentally unstable. And should we have mental health reform? Absolutely. And, you know, we can get to an Obamacare debate about that. But it's not one or the other. It's both.
Well,
Bryce Williams, he acquired his gun legally. And you can also look at John.
Passed the background check.
He passed
he
the
did.
background
That's
check.
the
He
problem.
acquired the gun legally. The gun that he used would not be covered by any of the proposed gun legislation. He used a Glock 19. It's considered a service pistol. So we can talk about the laws, but they don't apply even to the gun that this man was holding.
That's the problem. And I'm not a big gun fan. I think that's no secret. But, you know, you can only legislate so much. I mean, what can you do? You can legislate backgrounds. I'm all for it. There should be stronger background checks. But this man was able to pass a background check. What you can't legislate against, unfortunately, is people who are in big mental trouble, as this guy obviously was. And you know what? We even have to be cautious that he's not protected in his mental state by HIPAA laws and things like that. Now, fortunately, if he had seen a psychiatrist, we have no idea if he did or not, but if he had a psychiatrist who thinks that his patient's a danger, is supposed to report that. But if he hasn't, what can you do?
And Joe, as you pointed out, his crime was premeditated, it was methodical, it was planned out.
Well planned.
He wrote a 23-page manifesto that he faxed to ABC News. He was posting on social media as he was on the run. It's hard to see how any particular piece of legislation would have been able to prevent this awful crime.
Outlawing handguns is one.
Well,
And
we can
it's
repeal the
indisputable.
Second Amendment.
It's not
Good
the Second
luck.
Amendment. Nowhere in the Second Amendment does it say anything about handguns. Militias, yes. And we're talking about, you know.
I got to tell you something. That argument has been litigated to death now. Whether we like it, whether we don't like it, Second Amendment's here to stay.
I'm not
You
disputing,
can-
I'm
but
not
no, you
disputing
can-
the Second
you can
Amendment. I'm
parse-
disputing handguns.
Wait,
And I
you
think
can
this is a real
parse- no.
conversation that's had. We're doing it in
It's
New York
been-
State.
it's been
It's already done in
litigated.
New York State.
It's
This is
been
something that's been litigated in
litigated.
New York State. Handguns have tighter controls.
In New York, because they decided to do it and it
And
passed
guess
muster.
what?
But
Guess what? Guess
No,
what? Gun
it's-
violence is down in New York State.
Great.
The cities
and
and the
you know what?
states-
I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But it's not going to happen. So
Says
I don't
who?
like wasting
There's
time
been
on
a
it.
72% of Americans want
gotta go.
tighter gun control legislation.
It just doesn't do anything.
Do you
It's
think the
gonna
media's
happen.
gotten the story right? Let us know at newsmaxtv.com/comments. Next up, Allison Parker's father speaks out.